Hello, LEGO fans. Bricks Unbound here with another Building Hogwarts update. And today we are back over at the Suspension Bridge area, specifically looking at the Gatehouse, which is now actually in its final form. There'll be a couple more additions and changes I still need to make, but this is pretty much what it's going to look like. Essentially, I don't have the spots where the cables for the suspension bridge will attach to it in place yet. But other than that, it is pretty much done, which is nice to see. So I did go with the design I was talking about in the last update and what I did for the base section of it, which is each of these blocks that make it up is made itself up of three smaller 1x2 rounded plates. That lets me get a pretty tight curve on this. It's still not perfect with the roof there. I might have knocked something out of alignment a little bit, moving it around. But I think it gives a pretty good texture here. And then also it allows me to put in these windows. So there's windows on the front of each tower as well as off on the sides. And that gives a little bit more character, I think, than the just plain curved panel pieces that I had used when I was trying to mock up the approximate height that I wanted things to be at. And I think that did actually work out pretty well here and seems fairly close in height and proportions to the pictures I've found of this section of the castle. So I am happy with how that turned out. There is a little bit of interior as well. It's a pretty plain inside. I might put a couple of like benches or something off to the sides underneath those windows where students could be sitting and working on things. But you can go through those doors to get to what I would imagine would be probably staircases back behind there that lead down underneath the castle down into the dungeons area. And then it's just tiled off on the inside. So yeah, nothing too exciting here, but I did want to get it mostly finished off here. And then it just sits down right on top of it as the mocked up version of it did before. On top, there are, I guess, battlements with some crenellations where I could have some figures standing. I don't know if I want to tile over this or not. It does kind of look not great with it just being exposed studs, so maybe I'll tile over it in a dark tan or something. I had also mentioned about maybe having a doorway built into this wall. I'm also kind of thinking maybe I just put a trap door or a representation of a trap door on the top here that could look like it could be opened up. So I haven't decided exactly how I want access to the top of this section to work yet, but there's a few options that I could go with. That's pretty quick for this. It did take a fair bit of time to construct, but I am glad to have this little gap filled up here, and then with the rock work underneath it, this is actually looking, it's not complete because I still have to add a little bit more character to the rock work, but it is a fairly complete looking little section of castle here. Next, I'm not entirely sure which thing I'm going to work on first. I do really want to actually fix this corner here instead of it just being very, very unfinished. And then have this corner of the quad courtyard looking a little bit cleaner and a better presentation from the front of it. Although I do need a bunch more of these slope pieces in order to pull that off. These 2x2x2 slopes, I guess is what they are. So I'd like to work on that sooner rather than later. And I did start just working on a little bit more rock work underneath here. It's not the most exciting stuff to make videos of, so I'm trying to do a little bit of it in between other things. But this is a fairly solid chunk here under this tower, and that's why the top half of this is removed, is because I was having to lift that up, move it around a little bit to figure out spacing. But this is approximately the shaping that side is going to have. And I would like to have this part here a little bit more solidified, so then that way I can actually get the suspension bridge in place I need to lengthen it by a few more studs on each end so that it can press right up against the edge there, and then get the cables running down and through, as well as the supports that go down to the bridge from those cables. But I need to get the rock work done first, so that way I'm not having to take everything apart and remove everything about the suspension bridge every time I want to work on something in this area. So rock work, cleaning up this area here are kind of the next priorities, I think, and then determining, or not determining, but then continuing to work on the section that's going to be underneath the owlry as well. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please keep coming back for more, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching.